Are you ready to scale your business? Or has revenue stalled and you need to jumpstart sales? Our guest has built two multi-million dollar businesses in the service industry, and she's one of the most recognized coaches for entrepreneurs and businesswomen. And she's an angel investor. If you want to take your business revenue to the next level, stay tuned for the Startup Life Show. Hello and welcome everyone to the Startup Life Show. I'm your host, Ande, Lyons, startup coach to first-time founders. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, I now help newly minted business owners sleep through the night by giving them peace of mind. And for those of you live watching or those watching the replay, thank you for investing in you and your business, because as you do better, your business will do better. And those watching the replay, be sure to click on the subscribe button and the bell icon. Thank you so much. I'm excited to introduce you to our phenomenal female founder guest, Carolin Soldo. And I just want to share a wonderful picture of her while I'm reading her background, okay? So Carolin is one of the most recognized business growth coaches for entrepreneurs, especially for female founders. She has been named Female Entrepreneur of the Year by the Stevie Awards and has created an Inc. 5000 ranked global enterprise devoted to empowering women entrepreneurs. Carolin has won the Small Business Administration Award for Business Owner of the Year and has been featured on Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur Magazine, and more. And get this is a woman who really knows how to grow a business. She has built 2 multi-million dollar businesses in the service industry, and she's an angel investor with a special interest in our favorite, women-led ventures. Over the last 10 years, Carolin has advised and helped nurture the businesses of many of the 7-figure thought leaders you see thriving today. I don't know about you, but I am going to be taking so many notes with Carolin here. Please join me in welcoming this phenomenal female founder. Hello, Carolin Soldo.
Hi, Ande. Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, I'm thrilled that you're here too. And folks who are watching, I want to encourage all of you. This is a live event. Well, in a live event, you get to network, right, Carolin? You get to meet other people, share your LinkedIn URL, your website, talk amongst each other, find a way to collaborate, because given the pandemic, especially here in the US, we are staying put, and the most we're doing is maybe an elbow with a mask on, and that's it. So where are you hailing from, Carolin?
I'm in Buffalo, New York.
Hey, so directly west from where I am here in Boston. Let us know where you're hailing from in the comments, folks, because we'd love to wave to you. And also, you business owners, put your URLs in there for your business. I want to highlight you and your business right up here on the screen. I know we have the amazing marketing maven right here, Vicki O'Neill, tuning in. Hi, Vicki.
Hi, Vicki.
Yep, I'm right there with you, ready to take notes. And hey, it's Lisa McKenzie. Oh my gosh. Lisa, I know you're hailing from Montreal. Yes. Woohoo. And I mean, seriously, an amazing influencer and expert. And Theodore, you're amazing too. I adore you, Something Fierce. So thrilled you're tuning in today. Hey, Carolin, how has the transition been for you with COVID? I love the videos of you. You're on the stage, everybody's dancing and jamming and having such a good time. And now you have to bring that energy through the camera. How has that been for you in your business?
Yeah, I would have to say we have been fortunate because a majority of our business has already been online. And we have been doing a lot of video and live streaming as well. So that was good news. Unfortunately, our big event had to be postponed. So we were trying hard in the beginning of the year, the February, March timeframe, to still somehow do it. But then, of course, decided for everybody's safety to reschedule. So this year we're doing a virtual event later.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Well, it's been a tough transition. I co-host a monthly pitch event. So back in March, we took it online, and these are 5 founders who have 99 seconds to pitch their business.
Oh, wow.
So, and we just said COVID-19 is not going to disrupt the Boston startup community. We are going to keep on going and glowing and adding wind, and it's great. Well, it says LinkedIn user, but hi.
Hi, user.
You're from my hometown, and as we say in Boston, Andover. So maybe it's Cynthia. My fingers are crossed. I don't know. Anyway, let's start diving in just a little bit into your background, because every founder has a story. I feel a Rod Stewart song coming on. Anyway, every founder has a startup story, and you've been at this for a while. But I believe that you might have launched your first business with your darling man at the time. Take us back to when you left payroll behind and dove into the startup life.
Yeah, it was in 2006, and I actually didn't leave payroll behind. He did leave payroll behind, and I was the breadwinner essentially. So I was still working in corporate, building my corporate career, making sure that we could support ourselves while he was building the business. So Boris and I launched a manufacturing company based on his experience as an engineer, and didn't really have a whole lot of business know-how, just researched whatever resources we could get our hands on, and grassroots, hard work, long hours got this business growing, and it's thriving even today, and has been doing really well even during COVID. So fingers crossed, we're really blessed with that. And that was.
Was it manufacturing of a product, or did you set up a manufacturing facility?
Yeah. So we got what they call an incubator facility. So the Small Business Administration helps companies with very low cost spaces, and so we got a manufacturing space. And imagine a big floor with big machines, and they're very expensive. So these machines are between a couple $100,000 to millions in cost, and they make high precision components for rockets that go up in space, to military applications, dampers for skyscrapers.
Yeah,
really cool stuff that he makes.
That's real hands-on assets, capital overhead, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, and inventory control. I'm very impressed. He's got a lot of parts and pieces, literally, and a lot of plates spinning, managing that. But my gosh, 15 years later, right? Still happening.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So when did you decide you wanted to help folks, Carolin?
I wanted to help folks from the start. And I didn't realize that about myself for a long time, but it's really came from what I experienced growing up as a child, and some of the trauma that I had to overcome, which turned me into someone who wanted to be meaningful for other people, help other people. And I think that's where this hunger is coming from inside of me. But I didn't really know what that meant for a long time, right? So going into corporate, building a marketing career, and I discovered the coaching and consulting industry through a personal health issue that I experienced when I had my babies. And I found the health coaching field first. So that was my first intro into coaching, and, seeing people help others, love what they were doing, working from home. And, secretly I was thinking, maybe I could do that too. I didn't believe it in the beginning, of course, right? Didn't know anything about online marketing or how I would even do that. But I began to wonder, maybe this is my business, because obviously Boris's company was growing and that was successful. So I thought, where's my company? Like, what can I do? So that was in 2010, around that time. And then I made the decision to make it a reality and began to work on it.
Excellent. And this Founders is what is the beauty of founderhood. We are problem solvers. And that's what Carolin is showing right here. She saw some problems that needed to be solved, and she was meeting a core need of her own, which was to help people. There's nothing better when you know that you're enhancing someone's life and making it better and improving the situation, especially when it's a problem that you've solved or figured out and pulled together. So I love that. And congratulations on the babies and managing 2 entrepreneurs in the house. My husband and I launched a business together, and we got through it. We've been together 35 years, folks, but I have to tell you, it was a stress on the relationship, and we came back with I think one of us needs to be on payroll.
Yeah.
But so I've been the one who's been unemployable since 1992. But okay, so you still had to figure out those core skills. You had to learn how to brand yourself online, because when you are an expert, when you're going to be a coach, you're going to need to really create a rockin' personal brand. So you're not just trying to prove a value proposition that people want what you're selling. I mean, Boris, it's parts and pieces and it's manufacturing. It's pretty clear people are going to want it or they're not. This is a personal a brand that you need to be able to vibe with your tribe. So how did you figure that out initially? And then how has that evolved over the years?
Yeah, I'm very good at engineering things. So I have an analytical mind. So I looked around this consulting field and coaching field, and I saw people succeeding at it. And I figured out quickly how they were doing it, because most of what people do in their business is very visible with us being out there and, promoting. So we can see messaging, we can see product suites, we can see how the marketing is put together. And when you begin to analyze a business model, with these eyes, then you can understand how you can too build a business that way. So I never reinvent the wheel. I look at what's working and I make it mine. So I have followed a proven business model, and that's how it came together. Obviously not copying anybody's message, but the structure behind the business is what you discover. And when you build it that way, it will work.
Yes. And you brought up a really, really good point, which is you don't have to reinvent the wheel, everybody. Mm-hmm. Seth Godin will tell you, sure, it's been done before, but not by you and not for us. And that, combined with this newest book that says people like us do this. So, you can be just like somebody else. You're not going to be stealing their idea, because you can't steal who they are or who they be. Mm-hmm. But you still had to find who are the people who want to vibe with you, who are in your tribe, that resonate with you. How did you figure that out? Because I know for experts and coaches and visionaries that you work with, that can be a challenge. Initially, they want to be everything for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to make it easy on yourself and look at how people connect naturally. People flock to the ones who are sort of like them. Naturally, if you're at the party, the women are with the women, the men are with the men, and sort of that's sort of our nature. So I always chose to work with people who were most like me. And I always say you only have to be 1 or 2 steps ahead of them to be able to help them go to where you are. So in the beginning, when it was about health, I helped people who were suffering from things that I had suffered from, right? Then when I began to build businesses and help people with their business, I did the same thing again. Really just focused on people who were mostly like me, had similar pain points and similar goals, because I could relate to them, speak their language, know what's in their mind, and be confident for myself that I could create results for them as well.
That's great. And then you had to really choose your sweet spot. So for me, it's pitch decks. I mean, the startup world is, I can certainly help people on all different levels, but my sweet spot is the pitch deck for raising capital. So for you, it was money, scaling a business, increasing revenue, growth strategies. How did you land there with all the ways that you could help folks?
Great question. And, it wasn't always money and growth. Again, I had to prove to myself that I could do it. So in the beginning, I leaned heavily into branding, because that was my background. That's what I had done in corporate. So I would do workshops on how to build a personal brand, a business brand, the logos, all of the branding, right? And the scaling really came later, once we saw that we could scale fast and easily, relatively easy. And we had sort of cracked the code to scaling a company, right? Mostly service-based businesses. Mm-hmm. And we saw it working for us. We saw it working for our clients. So we were able to really latch on to the idea of scaling with ease. And then when we hit the Inc. 5000, we're like, oh, now we got the stamp of approval from, from Inc. to say that it's real, it's happening.
That is a great validation. I am so happy for you. That had to have felt wonderful, Carolin.
It was unbelievable. I didn't believe when I got the email. I'm like, oh my God, like that. It was insane.
Makes me like, I'm bona fide now.
Yeah.
Not that we need that validation, everybody, but it feels good. And it's good
Sure.
to have that stamp on your branded material. I love that. So let's, okay, who in the audience watching live, and of course for you folks later, I'd love to know too, are building a service-based in business? Because Carolyn, my 3 other businesses were like Boris, okay? Like I was out here leading it, right? But I looked at the business as the business. It was I just had a clear definition. It was not about me. It was about this great product and our platform or whatever. But when I put out the Startup Life with Ande Lyons, I really ran into resistance, blocks, all sorts of stuff. Why is that?
Because we're the product, Ande.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. When you and that's why it's easier for us to speak and give presentations in a job, right? Because you're not really selling yourself, you're speaking on behalf of someone else or another product, another brand. But now if you're a coach, a consultant, a speaker, anybody who's in service, people buy you, right? Yes, they buy your service, but they're really buying you, your vibe, your personality. And marketing is all based on how we show up. And that makes it hard because all the eyes are on us. And the trap is to then really start obsessing about ourselves. And if you ask me how to get over it, I would say stop being so worried about yourself and focus a lot more on other people. It helps in so many ways.
Well, and I also, and anybody in the comment threads want to jump in on this too, pricing. Yeah, I had no problem pricing products. My gosh, it's pretty obvious. It costs so much to make, and you need a markup, and you need profit, and boom, you're done. But pricing for to make it so that I had a sustainable, profitable business, and I was serving folks I wanted to serve. I found that really challenging. What advice do you have for folks on finding out where the best way to price? And this is going to be a 2-part question, Carolyn. I want to know, how do you come up with that? And then how do you increase that over the years? How do you scale that, et cetera? And we'll talk more about the actual strategies a little bit later. But right now, just as you're starting out, how do you come up with that pricing?
Yeah, so pricing is easy for people to research and compare, right? So I would begin by, if it's a brand new industry, I would look at the competitive spread, so to speak. So, if you're looking at 10 of your competitors, you want to find out what their pricing is, because your clients will be comparing you to them. So it might be from $1,000 to maybe $5,000 or $6,000 or maybe even more. So then at least you know what the range is. And then from there, you can evaluate, how you want to be positioned and what your service is worth to you as well. Are you more of a boutique level or higher end, offering, or are you someone who wants to be appealing to maybe a few more people, so more mainstream? So that depends on the brand positioning. You also want to keep in mind what your market can sustain, what people can pay and might be willing to pay at any given time. So right now we've seen people sort of close their wallets a little bit because of what's happening in the world, right? So you want to be aware of the competition, the economy, what people are thinking, and then also consider your own value, how you value your services, and what your goals are as well. That has to match with how you're pricing yourself.
Right. And, I'm always reminded with, the story by Brian Tracy. He tells a story about this manufacturing facility, coincidence, right? And something was wrong and they couldn't produce what they were producing. And they bring this consultant in. He spends maybe 5 minutes total and he figures it out and he sends the bill for $10K. And the guy's like, what? And he goes, look, I knew what it was. I figured it out.
Yeah.
And hello, you could have been shut down for another week before you got there. Pay the invoice.
Yeah. Someone recently told me this idea and said, if you're sick or you have heart surgery, would you rather be on the table for 5 hours or 30 minutes? 30 minutes, right? If you can get done in less time and you get the same result or better, why would you make it, last longer? So, service-based companies, it's not by the hour, it's not based on the time. It's really like to your point, the outcome, the result, and if it can be done in 10 minutes, amazing.
Wow. And of course, my curious mind goes right to the results.
Yes.
So another thing with service-based industries is that we have to get those recommendations and testimonials that talk about the results, right?
Absolutely. Credibility, I think, is everything. The messaging is about the emotion you evoke and the stories to tell and the tips you give. But it's really about how do people know that what you say will work for them, right? So your own results, testimonials, features in media, awards that you can apply for and win, all of that is real proof that you get results for people.
Sell the result.
For sure.
Along with selling the problem, right? Sell the result too. Wow. Okay. So let's dive into that, because as service providers, when we, again, put out our shingle, we have to set up our business model so that it works. Now, yes, a lot of times we don't have to do the fundraising that other businesses, tech products, life science, folks with like Boris with the heavy assets that they need to invest in over time. We have to figure out how to be sustainable through our clients. So as we start out and you start to build out that revenue model, what are like some of the first steps we have to think about?
Well, I would say continuity is important. And, a lot of service providers have a recurring model, but many of us don't. So we're getting clients and we service them, we complete them, and then we need more clients. So we have a big problem that we have is the dropout. So always having to get new clients and not being able to sustain the client base. So from a revenue model, when I look at a business, it's about the product suite and how I can help clients here, but then potentially help them here or down here, and then maybe up here as well, so that I can extend the customer value as long as possible, which helps with revenue consistency, profitability, and not always having to get new clients in.
Boy, you just brought up the consultant, the coach, the experts. Biggest problem.
Yeah.
Because we have to take care of the admin, which I know you'll talk more about later, but we also, what chunk of our time do we have to consistently be working on building that funnel? And I know that folks get tired. So that's the question I'll be bringing up in just a minute, but I have a great question in here. How do you convince small businesses of the importance of a solid strategy? Most just have a great product and want to go without the necessary due diligence and plan. I have a difficult time explaining why they need this. Oh, good question. Business strategy. Go ahead, Carolyn. What do you say? Oh, here, I'll put it back up so you can take a better look at it.
Well, you need to speak their language, right? You need to really speak their language. So I'll give you Boris as an example. He gets pitched by consultants frequently, very frequently, and he will not hire any of them. And he will say, maybe rudely so, they're just going to come in and show me a bunch of charts and leave and charge me $500. They don't get me. They don't know me. They don't know what I really need. I don't need charts and strategy and a book to read. And to some degree, he is right? So if they knew what he's struggling with specifically in business, which for him right now are people, and building a team and, training them, and then building this hierarchy so that he can have some of his time back. If someone came in with that message, he would be listening and he would pay attention. So, talking about strategy, what sort of strategy are we talking about? What does it mean?
Yeah. And I think to the LinkedIn user question is, a lot of folks, especially you'll see it in the tech industry too. They're hey, I'm just going to launch. Well, it's the old, I'll build it, they'll come. That is a complete mythology. And if you don't have a plan, not just for the immediate needs, but what is your runway going to be? And if you can speak to runway, how much time did they have before they're going to be out of money to do what they need to do? But also, what can they do today so that when the lift starts happening and they start going from that startup point here and they start arcing up, when do I bring in what talent? When do I bring in this? When do I need to move to a hard facility? You have to be thinking about that ahead of time. So I think, as Carolyn was saying, LinkedIn user, that in really understanding where they're at in their founder stage. And I know if, the early stage, maybe they've had a year of being a founder, so now they know what they don't know. which is everything. When you first start out, right, Carolyn? It's
you think you can do it all, and the biggest issue in this question is the word convince.
Yes.
If they don't know they have a problem, you should not be selling to them.
Okay, there we go. That's a tweet.
Our job is not to convince. Our job is to solve problems, and you'll catch them when they do have a problem and come back to you. And so focus on the problem you can solve down the road. But right now, if you're convincing, it's an uphill battle.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Who's going like, yes, thank you. Love that solid piece of advice. Brilliant, Carolyn. So when folks are in the service business and scaling, we have this thing called the funnel. I like to call it the cocktail glass. Glass.
I love that. That's great.
You got to get people into that drink. And honestly, you said the word consistency, Carolyn.
Yeah.
It is, I mean, really, I think it's a mind hack, everybody, this marketing funnel. I'm looking forward to hearing what Carolyn has to say, so that it's fun to deliver. It's fun to solve that problem. It's fun to have those conversations. And it's certainly fun to bill the clients and bring in the money, but keeping that funnel filled and not be discouraged or frankly exhausted from it. Share with us how service providers can do better at that.
The lifeblood of your business are leads. And I'm not talking about an email list that means nothing if you can't monetize these people and turn them into clients. So your ability to grow and thrive depends on how good you are at bringing in prospects, good quality prospects and the right number of them, and also how easy that is for you. So to me, a funnel consists of a customer journey. When I think of a funnel, I think of a map, right? And almost sort of like a path where you have certain milestones along the way. And this is a very sort of traditional model. I was actually taught this model in business school, where we create awareness, we bring people to where they're interested in us, then we turn them into people who really desire and prefer us, and then we move them to action. And ideally, they become a fan, they're advocating for us, they're referring more people to us. So when you think about your marketing as a path that you want to create for people so they get to walk down this path and then become clients, then you can look at, what are my touch points? What are my conversion tools? What's the messaging all along the way? Which systems can I plug in to automate this process? What metrics am I using to measure the effectiveness, right? And then based on that, how do I improve it over time? So it's a real network, and many people don't have it. It's like a paint. It's a picture. You're just flashing things everywhere, and then nothing makes any sense.
Well, and you brought up some really good points. I'm looking at my notes here because I'm taking notes furiously while I have Carolyn up on the stage. Let's talk a little bit about the consistency, and then we'll get into systems and metrics. Consistency, because boy, is it easy to get discouraged.
Oh yeah.
You're sitting there, you're putting it out, you're going to networking events. What happens after a period of time and it's still, a ghost town? Talk about how long should we expect, or is it just that we're not doing the right traction, or we're not going after the right people? And there could be a lot of things that need to be tweaked, certainly in our marketing efforts. But if you are out there and consistent and putting it out, what are you looking at for how long that customer journey should take? And I get that it depends on the customer itself, but what do you usually tell folks so that they don't throw themselves out the cellar window?
It depends on the effectiveness of the tools that you're using. So a customer journey could take 24 hours, right? Depending on how you put it together. For example, if you're running ads on Google, someone could find the ad today. From there, a half hour later, they could watch a video or a workshop or a webinar that's recorded. At the end of this webinar, you ask them to book a consultation. So 3 hours later, they're on your calendar for a call tomorrow. You talk to them the next day and you close them on that call. It could be a 2-day process. It could also take a lot longer if you're choosing a different sort of path, or a path that you cannot completely control. So networking is one of these things where when you go to networking events, you really don't control who is there, right? So you're not sure, are those really my ideal clients? From there, that's just awareness. Do you have a place for them to go? Can you promote yourself? And not just tell them what you do, but can you invite them to an event, a workshop, a lead magnet? How do they get into your world? From there, how do you communicate with them more, right? So that's the idea of awareness, interest, desire, and then action. So if your journey breaks anywhere along this path, then you're just living in one of these areas, but you never get beyond that hump, and that's why it's not working.
And that's why you hire Carolin. I'm just saying, everybody, because you could take years to figure that out, or you could hop in with Carolin on one of her boot camps and get these systems. You can see how Carolin thinks, everybody. It's very systematic, procedural. Get these systems in place so that they're happening automatically, that you do it automatically, and it's just part of how you're vibing every day and how you're implementing every day. And at the same time, you're going to measure. Talk a little bit about what you're going to measure for, and then I'm going to hop in and see how the live viewers are commenting here.
Yeah.
The metrics are so key. Everybody knows my favorite saying, if you're not watching the data, that's like steering a car without the steering wheel, or driving a car without a steering wheel. You got the metrics.
100%. So you should know approximately how much a customer is costing you, right? So the cost per customer. And then there could be a variety of different metrics depending on the tools that you're using. So let's say we go back to advertising. We're running Facebook ads. You need to know your click-through rate. You need to know how many people are clicking, whether enough of them are clicking or not, what it's costing you for people to take action, whether that is downloading something or watching a video or a webinar. You need to know the engagement. Are people watching it long enough, or are they dropping off? On YouTube, for example, you need to know watch time, right? Because everything is about how long people will watch a video. How many people are booking calls with you? Do you need 10 calls, 20 calls, 50 calls a month? So you need to have a dashboard. Once the customer journey is determined for your ideal client, for how you want to run it, then you can figure out which data points are available depending on the tools that you're using and what your benchmarks will be so that this is profitable for you at the end, right?
Right.
Once you have those benchmarks, the nice thing is that you can then hone into the journey and see where you're potentially falling below and then know how to fix it. So you're not just, coming to me on a call saying, Carolin, I have no clients, what's happening? Well, this particular piece in my journey isn't working. How can we fix that? And then we can be sharp and efficient. And
yeah. And I tell you, those numbers become clear as day. You set them up in a sheet. You can see, especially your customer acquisition costs and the customer journey, and of course the CAC. I love. I have a video, everybody, called "How to Calculate the LTV CAC Ratio." You needed to know that's a big metric, but it's a tough acronym that people throw out all the time and has many founders scratching their heads. So I'm going to put that into the show notes so you guys can go watch it. It's so important because you don't want to be throwing money out there and just having it go to nowhere. Yep. And what I love about you, Carolin, is that you understand that you're going to have what it's costing and you're going to have that whole journey. So you're going to say, okay, I ran this Facebook ad. I got this many people responding. Out of that response, this number came to my webinar. I mean, it's going along. You got the headers, response, webinar. Then you got another header that's going to say how many then scheduled a call, and then how many took it to the next step. And I'm sure you've got a beautiful system as well that helps folks really see where it was great saying hello and, oh God, they had a great time at the webinar, but they didn't book the call, or they booked the call and then dropped off the face of the earth. So what happens when they book the call and you're done and you've had your quote exploratory customer journey call with them and then crickets? What usually causes that to happen, Carolin?
Well, there can be crickets when people don't show up for a follow-up call or then ghost on you when you send the agreement. But we should never be in a position where we're waiting, right? So when you have a sales call, obviously you either say it's a no and then, goodbye and that's it. It's a yes and they buy on the spot, or there's a follow-up meeting scheduled where there's a next step. And then you're never in a place where you're waiting and there's crickets and you don't know what's going to happen. I want
to talk about that just for a second.
Yeah.
this is news to me. I don't know anybody else. This is news. So at the end of that call, you need to have 3 actions are going to take place. 1, let's talk again in a couple of weeks or whatever your follow-up call is. 2, let's work together and let's set up our first time and I'll invoice you and this is how this contract works. Or 3, mwah, I wish you all the best.
That's right.
You know, I don't know about anybody who's watching, but that feels really good.
Good. Yeah.
Right? Because at the end, and I'm sure I've heard this, I don't know how many times, I've only been online for 10 years, but you know, it's one of those times that it really sunk in because now you're giving them the pathway too. You're giving them that action step. Yes, Carolyn?
Mm-hmm, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a 50-50, right? They have responsibilities. We have responsibilities, but nobody wants to be in a position where we have to chase clients or, you know, feel awkward about following up. So there's always a next step, and then you can feel comfortable that things are taken care of. And again, they can no-show on that follow-up, but then it's not taking up any mind space for you.
Got it. So I'm just going to bring in this wonderful, yes. Yes, Vicki. Carolyn is talking your language. Absolutely. You guys should follow each other on YouTube. And then Lisa, let's read what you've got here. Sell the result, but make sure the client has the resources to execute. My intake application and discovery meeting are critical to making sure they will efficiently implement according to the strategy to get the result, but still a few fall through the cracks. Sometimes it's a mindset issue. Is that true? Is that, you know, how they fall through? They're not ready to make that investment, Carolyn?
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like this is a sales call that has an intake form.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure what Lisa means by falling through the cracks, not showing up for the call, perhaps.
Yeah. And Lisa, pop in, you know, to take that further. But yeah, I know, because, you know, again, people get hung up, I think, on the money. I think that they think that that's not where they should be spending their money, yet they'll go and spend money on some stupid graphic design that's not going to get them anywhere.
Well, I ask them, right? So when you're booking a call with me, one of the questions will ask you if you have the financial resources with a specific number attached to invest in your business if we decide that it's a fit. And if you say no, then we will cancel the call. Correct. And if you say yes, you stay in the call, because ultimately it's not a secret that we need to get paid and we're worth the money, right? And if someone doesn't have the resources, why take the time to talk? It's a waste of their time. It's a waste of my time. So
yeah. Okay. And I think too, what Lisa might be getting to is that she has a strategy for them, and they're probably looking at that and going, ruh-roh, that's going to be a little tough for me, or, you know, and again, lack of resources or time. And that is a beautiful segue. I mean, I'm going to come back to all this revenue stuff, everybody. But one thing that you will see when you're out there talking as an expert, as a coach to folks, is the time challenge. And how do you help folks nail down what's important? Because this is an ongoing daily practice, folks. I mean, we may recall when I had Whitney on the show, and she was telling me to take off all those low value things on my to-do list, and I was all butting on her because I wanted to keep them on maybe in another pile. She's like, no, Andy, let them go. I think that busy founders or clients, if you're talking to small business owners or if you're talking to busy executives, time is going to come up. How do you respond to that challenge, and what time? Throw in a couple of your wonderful time management tips.
So I would say part of it is real time scarcity that can be solved or must be solved through building a team. So every business will essentially hit that limit where the founder needs to start hiring the right people for the right jobs, and then delegate and let go of some of that responsibility, which is tough. But there's also the idea that a lot of founders have an addiction to working because it gives us a sense of being productive. It gives us a sense of being in control, and it makes us feel like we're keeping it together. It makes us feel accomplished and we're getting closer to the goals that we have set for ourselves. So this can also happen for people in corporate. I'm actually, funny that you ask, I'm writing a book about this idea. I call it the success myth. And it's the problem that we highly ambitious people experience when we constantly overwork, and there's a reason for it. And the reason is not that you have to work that much. The reason is how you're looking at your business and the adrenaline rush that you get, and literally the addiction you have to working because of how in control it makes you feel. We don't want to feel out of control. We want to, take charge of our future, and that's why we work, and work some more.
Beautiful insight and advice. Usually that's when the audience would be going, "Oh yeah, Carolyn, bring it." Yeah. But that is so important, and it's not working harder, it's working smarter. I know you've heard it, but until you have someone like Carolyn who's going to be able to do an audit on your time or help you do that audit through a system that she has, so she's not spending the time, do that audit. So you don't know, and I think doing a time audit is one of the hardest activities out there. I get a high five from people in the audience, Vicki, Lisa, Carolyn, absolutely. Because you have to really sit down and be honest with yourself and practice forgiveness over some of the things that we spend time on that we shouldn't be spending time on. So I love that. As a solopreneur, as a service provider, we have to leverage every ounce of possibility out there so that we are not working for time. So let's talk about when, you get your practice up and you're feeling good about your 5 figures a year. And then you see all these people, what do you mean 6 figures, 7 figures? I don't understand this. Multi-million, what? How do I do that as a service provider? Can you talk a little bit about that when the schedule is full and you're plateauing?
Mm-hmm. 3 things. Your services need to be scalable. And I use the word evergreen a lot, and hybrid. And I can talk more about that, Ande, if you want. But they need to be able to scale so that you can work with more people without spending more time on it. The second thing is people. Building a team. Can't get to not even 500,000 without a real team. And then the third piece is lead gen. So leads need to be plentiful. You need to have an abundance of prospects coming in. So if you master the marketing and the customer journey and the funnel, and you have the ability and the mindset to bring the right people into your business and hire them before you're making the money, not after, right?
Oh, wait. Hire them before?
Yes, to make more money, make more. Mm-hmm.
So that you're putting the team in place, everybody, so that you can then get all those systems working and get that lead gen and all of those things happen. You are not the one who's supposed to be doing it all yourself.
Nope.
I know I interrupted you. I'm so sorry, but I really wanted to put a spotlight on that.
For sure. Yes, and scalability. So you may or may not be in coaching or consulting, but I think this works in any service-based industry. You want to look at how you can work with more people at the same time. So working in groups is a great idea, or literally multiplying yourself. My business grew like a weed, literally, when I began to hire coaches to help me. So I said, it's not all on me. It's not the Carolin show, right? There are people who do things better than I can, better at mindset, better at, marketing, better at sales, better at everything. So I welcome people into my business and handed my clients over to them. My clients didn't suffer. I was able to build a team, have more fun. And with that, we were able to grow. So people, scalable programs, and lead gen.
Love that. Yes, a good workshop, where you've got multiple heads and you're creating a lot of value. But wow, hiring people who will then love that. That's a business, folks. That is a scalable business. You have a team, you have folks who are delivering the value, and you're leading it as the visionary. You are as the founder. I love that. Something fierce. What is your take on digital marketing? I mean, how can we as service providers leverage digital marketing to help us get that lead gen in and help us get to the point where we're going to, be bringing team members in and then further leverage? Because everybody has a different opinion. I'd love to hear yours.
Yeah. Have you seen the malls lately? They're pretty dead, right? And so retailers are leaving. Some of the biggest stores are closing down. If you're not really embracing digital marketing, you will not survive.
Mm-hmm.
Your business is done because people are buying online. They're used to consuming online, buying, learning online, all of it. So we have to now really figure out how to make that work for us. Master the tech, slay those dragons, and learn from someone who can prove that they have real results. There's lots of shiny objects out there. There's lots of things that, people are promising results overnight, which may not be possible. So you want to make sure the system that you're implementing is proven. You can see the results. It's working for someone like you, right? Don't reinvent the wheel. Look at something that's working for someone and build it for yourself.
And look, I know how exciting it can be to bring on an intern or a college grad. And with all due respect to interns and college grads out there, you don't have that kind of time. Interns have to be trained. You don't have that kind of time. So just that. And the college grads, have they been trained to market for business? No. They, maybe some of them through their internships. Okay. But you want, as a solopreneur who's now building your team, right, Carolyn, you want people who know what they're doing, who have already proven results and track record taking care of you and your business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You need to hire an expert. It needs to be someone who can teach you how to do it. And then certainly once you master the entire system, you can bring people in who can do the work for you. You shouldn't be executing it. Ideally, software should do a lot of the stuff for you, so it's completely automated. But yeah, learn from the best, then put it in, make it work, and then outsource and delegate it.
And I'm going to say something about my gender, because there's books that have been written on it. Women often feel, if I just work harder. That's why a lot of them don't raise the capital. Raise the capital and leverage. Or in this case, hire someone, find the capital, figure out what you have to liquidate or leverage in your borrowing capability. You've got to invest in your business for it to succeed. And I'm going to say specifically, if you're spending time figuring out Facebook ads, you're wasting time and throwing away money. There are people out there who have got tremendous results. You can just give them the content and let them run. It's not going to happen overnight. Usually, you need to have a spend over a good 90-day period. But that's just one area of many. If you're doing your books, you can outsource that as well. Even if you're like me and you love crunching those numbers, outsource those things. It's so important. It's one of the biggest pieces of advice. And that's what you're bringing so brilliantly, Carolin, is just really helping service providers to understand, look, even if you have to go get a job to get the money in so that you can then hire the people. I mean, do what you have to do, because trying to do it all yourself is just not going to give the results. What are your thoughts on that, Carolin?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've all been in those shoes, right? When I quit my job, I was on my own for over 18 months, and I lost thousands that I will never get back. And I've made more mistakes along the way, but my business took off when I hired great people. And even to this day, if I have a need, so let's say I want to become a better speaker, I hire a public speaking coach. If I want to sell better, I hire a sales coach. I don't struggle through trying to figure it out myself. I hire someone, I cut down my learning curve, I get it done, and I don't struggle with it. So, that's really how it's done. If you want to do things right, you got to work with the experts.
Absolutely. One of the things too, I think, and I've heard a lot of women run into this, but I bet men struggle with it as well, is promoting your business everywhere you go. Because, we've got a little doctrination in how we've been raised about not being a pushy broad. And I am a card-carrying member of the PBS Club, folks. That's the Pushy Broad Squad Club. I'm okay with that. But how can women overcome this one hurdle that I see talked about a lot, which is the self-promotion?
Stop obsessing about yourself. Whenever I feel nervous or I get, depressed and I don't feel good, anything sort of negative emotion-wise, I know I'm making it all about myself. Look, what about me? What if they judge me? Poor me. What do I look like? What do I sound like? Me. Stop making it about yourself. It's not about you. Once you start to really look at how can I make this world a better place? What do these people struggle with right now? What can I give them? And you let go of being so important, all of that stuff will fall away, and you'll stop thinking about yourself and actually be in service to, your potential clients.
Brilliant advice. Again, that's a mindset hack, everybody. Get in there and stop worrying about how we look how, and that's been for as long as I've been networking, Carolyn. So probably since the late 80s, guys are, they'll share information and just say, hey, they were breathing when I last saw them. Women reflect. How is this going to reflect on me? Am I making the right introduction? No, don't worry about it. You're helping people. If it works out for them, great. If it doesn't work out for them, great. Get yourself out of that equation. Absolutely. And same thing with your service. I know for me, I always worry about disappointing, and what's a great way to get over that? Because I know I've talked to other service providers, male and female, and it's, you just want to make sure you deliver. And there's probably just more time yes? In delivering results, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, the more proven, results you get, the more you know that you can actually do it. Where eventually you'll get to the point where you can say, I'm 100% confident that I can help you. And I actually say that a lot to people, but I feel it. I won't guarantee results, but I know for a fact that I can help someone like you. But it takes experience. You gotta, step through that fear, make mistakes, disappoint. Yeah. You will disappoint someone at some point, and then you fix it and you learn from it and you move on.
That's right. And I want to ask you too, you really love working with female founders. Why is that?
I have a special heart for women. I love working with men too, but I feel that naturally women have always been flocking to me more without me saying that I want to work with women. People tell me I'm authentic. People tell me I'm real. They feel comfortable talking to me. And I want to help women take a stance and be independent and go out there and do more of, the great work. So it's my passion.
Excellent. So as we wrap up the show, I always like to find out, not if, but when you have had founder doubt, when you laid awake at night and was just going, oh, I'm not cut out for this. How, tell us a story about the founder doubt moment and how you brought yourself back to the other side. You've given us so much great advice already. I'd love to hear how you managed that journey and maybe still continuing to this day.
Yeah. The biggest moments of doubt were when my team was growing rapidly. There are a lot of things that you can control in the beginning when it's only you. You control yourself, you control your systems, the way you work, your time and all of it. But once people come into your business, you may not be able to control them, right? They're people that have their own goals and ideas and all of that. So when I had to step into a real leadership role in my company, I had a lot of doubt because I began to trying to control them and setting expectations and, how do I manage them? How do I make it fun for them? How do I continue to get the results? So that was a big struggle for me. And some pretty difficult things happened in my business too, with people working out and not working out at all and actually damaging my business too. So I had to learn the idea of becoming a servant leader and really empowering people instead of trying to control them. The controlling never worked for me. The more I try to control them, the more I try to, give them lists of to-dos and telling them where to work and how to work, the less it worked. So really empowering people to do their best and let them, bring ideas and let them do it the way they want to do it. That has worked the best for me. And edifying them, not being queen bee, but I'm the founder, but my people are what make things work. Really sort of showcasing that it's about the team and it's really not about me.
That is so wonderful. And that, of course, means you've got to hire the right people.
Oh, yeah.
Who can take that corner of the business and you can go praise them like they should. And
good job. Keep going.
Never would have thought to do it that way. I love that. Thank you. Yeah, that's great. That's such good advice. Thank you so much. And let me just bring up this from Vicki. I know. I love that women flock to her that are seeking them out. That is so cool. I love that. Something fierce too. So how may we serve your business? I'm going to bring up, because the Startup Life community loves to add wind to each other's sails here. And I just want to share, because you have a wonderful boot camp coming up. Talk a bit about this.
Yes, the Client Attraction Bootcamp on October 26th is a full-day virtual event that will help you master online marketing in this new world that we all live in. So in this one-day event, I'm going to help you put together your online customer journey from start to finish with so much we already talked about today. your client attraction strategy, your entire customer map, your messaging, your systems, your metrics, and then really understanding how to launch it to bring those ready to buy prospects to your business with consistency, with reliability, so that the marketing struggle can finally end for you.
I love that. I'm putting the link into the show notes, everybody. Give me a second here. I'll put in the show notes, but I'm going to put in the comment section right here so you can click on it, learn more about it, because we all need to be improving our marketing. Oh my gosh. And especially now, there's going to be, and I trust someone with your brain. I mean, we've heard a lot from Carolin today, right? About how she sees things and how she thinks. And I'm telling you, investors love this too. When you show that it's about the systems, it's about the metrics, and, folks, invest in your business, go do this boot camp, make it happen, because you can figure it out on your own. But if you're feeling like you're hanging out or treading water and it's not working, you will not figure it out.
Yeah, no reason. And the best part is that your ticket contribution is based on what feels good to you. So we ask that you choose however much you want to contribute. As little as $1 will get you in. And we're donating 100% of the ticket revenue to Operation Underground Railroad, our charity.
Oh.
So you've got nothing to lose and everything to win.
Okay, yeah. This is a true nothing to lose and everything to win. Just not get a cup of coffee or do something. That's great, great, great. Oh, thank you so much, Vicki. I agree. It's going to be so much fun sharing all the advice that Carolin gave us today, 100%. Any last thoughts before I wrap everything up, Carolin?
Make sure you're happy in your business. People always say, it's about the success and the fame, but I believe that your business will not be successful if it doesn't make you happy. So make your happiness number one priority.
Oh, thank you so much. And I am just so honored that you came on and shared your brilliance. And I also love that you're uplifting women, female founders, that you sought them out as a niche, that they flocked to you. So thank you so very much. And hey, everyone, that was fascinating, right? I mean, if you're in the service industry, I know you're going to soar. And I know if you have another type of business, whether it's tech or food manufacturing, you got some great advice from Carolin here. And I am grateful that you carved out that time, because as you do better, your business does better. And I'm thrilled for you archive viewers, the replay. Thank you for tuning in and watching all the way to the end. Oh my gosh. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you've not already subscribed to my YouTube channel. And if you have any questions, pop them into the comments or email me, and I'll make sure Carolin gets them too. And you saw all her contact information. It'll be in the show notes as well. And I'm going to remind you founders what Carolin talked a lot about today, which is you do not need to struggle alone. That is crazy. You're wasting time and money. And time, most importantly, is what is the most valuable asset you have as a newly minted founder. So let's set up an exploratory call. Ping me for that 15-minute and delicious conversation. And also, I offer 2-hour strategy sessions, 2-hour jammed funding sessions. I do pitch deck reviews. I help you create your pitch deck. And I provide what I call on-demand founder support, because I know founders and they love being able to grab the phone and call me, and I charge by the minute. So, hey, we do 15 minutes, we do 30, boom. Very easy to do. I'd love to learn more about you and your new business. All the links are in the show notes. And viewers, I got to tell you, I know that you're working so hard in your business and you're working really hard on you. So I'm inviting you to stay in touch, stay focused, and please remember, you've got this. See you next time. Mwah!